with another Babysitter Club, a mystery.
This is Claudia and the Mystery at the Museum.
Written presumably by Ellen Miles, who wrote the previous one.
She's the ghostwriter.
This one we enjoyed way more than the previous mystery that we did last time. The voice was way more accurate to the character. It was just a much more intriguing mystery, and it was a lot of fun. So let's get right into it.
So there's a new museum that's open in Stony Brook, and it sort of sounds like a science museum, natural history museum, combined with an art museum. So it's like every museum topic in one museum, basically.
Well, yeah, it's a small town. You don't need more than one museum.
Yeah, exactly. So Claudia is taking 3 of the babysitting charges to the museum soon after it opens, and then while they're there, there's a robbery. And some ancient coins go missing.
The reason why Claudia had went to the museum originally was because she wanted to see this installation by an artist that she's really familiar with and really likes his work. And she notices something off about the statues, I should say sculptures.
Yeah.
And it starts to make her wonder if they have something to do with the robbery that took place.
She's a fan of this artist, and she's been to one of his shows before. I think it says when she was in New York, and she had seen one of the sculptures before. She says it seems different this time.
So she puts on her Nancy Drew cap and gets right to work. I really liked the writing of this book in general. It was very much in Claudia's voice. But I also really liked the format that the book was in. It was very reminiscent of a Nancy Drew book or an Agatha Christie book, which was really fun.
Yeah, it seemed like it could have been a mystery on its own without being part of the Babysitter's Club. If they'd taken this plot and made a separate book out of it, like, it still would have worked. I don't know if the author did this on purpose or not, because Claudia is a Nancy Drew fan in the series, and I think, like, even in the French translation, instead of being a fan of Nancy Drew, she's a fan of Agatha Christie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, yeah.
So it's cool that the mystery's kind of reminiscent of that. We got this from the Little Free Library up the street. Whoever read this book before or owned it before, they apparently did not like the babysitting subplot, and there's 2 parts of this book where they're like 4 or 5 pages just ripped out, and it was very conspicuously in the babysitting subplot chapters.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And
yeah, I was like, but I want to know what happened.
What happened?
Like, I'm invested.
We were able to figure it out just based off of what comes after.
Well, I kind of looked up on like a wiki site.
Oh,
so
nice.
Someone had filled in the holes.
Yeah, but basically she is babysitting this family.
Claire Pike, Mallory's youngest sister.
And Claire's like very into acting right now, and she wants to be a star. Her parents agree to let her do a little video at the mall, and Claire is just like obsessed with this video. She like keeps finding all these different ways to like show the video to other people. And it's so cute.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and the babysitters are like trying to be tactful about it and find ways to like
diffuse the situation, but like it's not working. Like there's one part where Claire is like, oh, we should have a talent show. It'd be so fun. Like every kid will do a little thing, but of course, like the main reason that she wanted to have this talent show was so that she could show the movie.
Oh yeah, I found one of the parts where the pages were ripped out.
Yeah, so it was kind of sad because it came right at the conclusion as well of this subplot, but we were able to fill in the holes. I just kind of figured it out based off of what came after.
Yeah.
You cheated.
I wanted to know.
That's fair. So one thing that I found interesting about this one was that, unlike the Christie book, they couldn't publicly look into this mystery without raising suspicion, because the Christie book, everyone in the town knows that Christy and her friends are looking for clues for Jake, and everyone is cool with that. But in this one, it's definitely not Claudia's business to be looking into museum mysteries, but she goes out of her way to do it anyway.
Well, I feel like something like a missing child, usually when that happens, the police are asking the public for their help.
That's true, yeah.
But like something like a museum heist, like, they don't usually ask the public for help, except maybe whoever was in the museum at the time, and, like, the cops just kind of take care of it themselves.
Claudia knows she's not really supposed to be looking into it.
But she does it anyway.
She does it anyway. she doesn't give any fucks.
There's one part where she suspects that the museum curator may have had something to do with the stuff going missing. Well, she and Stacy go into his office at some point to talk to him, and then while they're talking, like, he basically, like, kicks them out. He's like, stop wasting my time. But, like, as they're leaving, Claudia just, like, swipes a resume
Off of his desk.
Yeah, and then she studies it, and I guess it turns out that he's worked at a bunch of other museums that have had robberies or things go missing.
Yeah, so she was like, this guy, not great. Another part that I really liked that was very reminiscent of Nancy Drew was this part where she gets on the phone and she calls the operator and she says...
Who even does that anymore?
Well, I mean, back then I think you could still do that.
It's just so funny to read that now.
Yeah, like, I don't even know if you can call the operator anymore. I don't think anyone would be there. She calls up the operator and she's like, hi, I'd like to speak to Mr. Don Newman, please. And he's the guy who made these sculptures that she thinks look a little odd since the robbery. The operator just puts her through. Like,
yeah, she's like, yes, sure, seems legit.
He's a high-profile artist, and she's just like, yeah, sure, whatever, child. You can totally talk to this very important man.
That's a lot like Nancy Drew. I remember reading Nancy Drew, like, Nancy would, like, call all these people for information, like, very, like, personal information, if people would just give it to her.
I know, it was so funny, and definitely, like, of its time.
Yeah.
When she does speak to Mr. Don Newman, she's like, yo, like, there's something odd about your sculptures. I have seen them before, and they look a little strange, like... Maybe you can provide some insight. And he's, like, super into it. He's
yeah,
like,
he takes her seriously, which is nice.
He takes her seriously. He arranges to meet with her, like, at this opening, the official opening of the show, and they have a whole plan worked out to figure out who the robber was. It was very cute. Another Agatha Christie / Nancy Drew element in the story was this really sketchy guy who was at the robbery. He was in the crowd, looking like a sketchy guy. He turns out to be the detective.
Yeah, well, Claudia thinks he looks fishy because his eyes are 2 different colors. Why are you hating on heterochromia?
Don't judge people by their appearances, Claudia. But whatever, that's not the lesson in this book.
When they're at the opening, they find out that the coins are hidden inside one of the sculptures. And it was the janitor who put them in there. The janitor pulled the fire alarm, and while everybody was evacuating the museum, and then he took the coins out of the display case and put them in the sculpture. That was why the sculpture seemed different, because it was heavier.
Yeah.
I think the artist and the guy with 2 different colored eyes, they both tackle the janitor at this opening.
Yeah, they do at the same time. They follow him out because they see him go off with something looking fishy, of course. And it turns out that he was collecting the coins from the sculpture. He was doing it at a time where there'd be a lot of people around, so it'd be difficult to spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, both the artist and the detective just go at this guy, but luckily the coins were found and the sculpture was returned to its proper place.
It's really too bad that this was never adapted into the TV show.
Oh my gosh, that would actually be great. I think definitely some of these mysteries should have been adapted, but not all of them. Like the next one that we're going to talk about next time, I would love to see that in real time. One thing that I really liked was that Claudia had a chance in this book to show off her knowledge, because she's often bad at math, she's not great at school, she feels kind of inadequate in that area. But in this book, she gets to show off all of her art knowledge, and it's so nice to see her in her element and that she is good at something, even if it's not an academic thing.
Yeah, there's one point, even at the start of the book, where she schools Janine in some art-related stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Shannon's in this book. Shannon's actually part of the club at this part of the series because at this point, as you will see in the next book, Dawn has temporarily moved back to California. And while she's been gone, Shannon has taken her place in the club. Shannon was always an associate member of the club, so she's kind of like a substitute teacher. Yeah. So they would call her if they were really swamped with jobs. So she gets to be a regular member of the club for a brief time. And it's nice to see her interacting with everybody. And
yeah, she's just included in things.
Yeah, they invite her to the sleepover and everything, even though they're probably not as close with her as they were with Dawn. It's just nice to see. It's
it's cute. It's very cute. And Logan's also in it briefly. He's another one.
I mean, he's in it more often than Shannon.
Yeah, that's
Shannon
true.
doesn't go to the same school as they do.
Right, yeah, she just lives near Christy.
Shannon goes to a private school.
They had a lot of emergency meetings in this book. It like reached a point where I was like, you guys are just hanging out. These are not emergencies. Call it what it is.
I could see having an emergency meeting like in the last book when there was a kid that went missing.
Yeah.
But like no one's life is actually in danger here.
These kids just need to communicate to each other that they want to hang out, not find excuses to be in the same space.
Someone outside. Someone knocked on the door.
I don't think so. I think that was the upper unit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got spooked.
Spoopy! Oh, yeah. So, I also wrote a little bullet point list called Claudia Gives Zero Fucks. She says the sculpture looks like a fake in the gallery, and she steals that guy's resume.
I never would have had the balls to do that when I was 13.
You do you, Claudia. Don't ever change.
She's rocking this outfit. And this is an outfit that's described in the book.
Yeah, it's described in the book, and it also looks like something people would wear now.
I've actually kind of worn this.
Yeah, I know. I bought that sweater for you. Okay, anyway, I think that's everything we wanted to say
I think so.
about this book. It was a great time. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Would recommend.
Yeah, this one, how would you rate it out of 10?
Like 8?
Yeah, I'd say it's a solid 8 out of 10.
Like, it's very enjoyable. Obviously not perfect, but I don't think any of these books are perfect.
No.
Maybe the first couple. Alright, so we'll see you next time when we talk about Dawn and the Surfer Ghost. Bye!